head, slowing down and making no time. I gotta keep it rolling. Those windshield.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Gig App Worker Roundtable. My co-host, Kim Side Money Plans. And before we bring out this week's panelists, we're going to plug a little safety here. I'm going to let Kim go first.
Okay, so I know we've been talking about this for maybe 2 weeks now, 3 weeks now, but I'm going to say it again. Legal rideshare. Everybody needs to save their telephone number. They need to save their email address, even their website. Hopefully you never have to use them, but they are there for you in case you get into an accident, personal injury. They are specifically just for gig workers, which I think is absolutely amazing. And they're looking for drivers to take a survey. I'm going to pin it to both of our chats and everybody's chats to take a survey. You get a chance to win a $100 gift card if you take the survey.
So, also, we're only going to be legal rideshare. We've only got a couple weeks left of this thing we're doing with them. So we really are going to try and engrave it with you guys. Okay. So just bear with us. Cause I mean, if you haven't done it yet, go over and subscribe to their channel. They only drop once a week. You're not going to get buried in videos and things like that, but just go over and sub to their channel. They do put out a podcast every Friday. It's great. Kim and I have been doing a breakdown or a reaction video, which neither of us do reaction videos. So, but it's been kind of fun. I liked it. And they're very smart. They talk about great topics. And they're definitely there for you in any of the situations that might happen. But we have another one to plug here too, because it is safety time. I mean, real quick too, GaryZapps.com. Always GaryZapps.com. So check that out too, because those are safety tools that help you, especially if you're out multi-apping, things like that. But you guys, does everybody have a dash cam? Okay, because there's like two kinds, right? So there's like the dash cam that uploads to the cloud, and then there's the dash cam that has an SD card. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. You never know till you need to pull it out. Because I've had a couple of these dash cams. Sometimes you pull out the card and it's melted or it's corroded. So you see it recording on the device, says recording, but it's not recording to anything. So you wouldn't know till you pull the SD card. That's the difference between the cloud. So, you're driving, and whoa, so an accident or somebody comes in your car and says, give me all your money. And then says, give me that dash cam too, and you got the display ride, you're good. Everybody's happy. Now let's see what happens with the other guy's dash cam. You're driving along, and then boom, your car gets in an accident. You find out there's no SD card. Somebody robs you. You got nothing. Your car's on fire. You're burning alive. Who knows?
Your car's on fire.
Regardless, the answer, you guys, and I don't even mind doing this plug, is that the answer is, if I can get this image on. Oh, I was trying to upload another one. She's still laughing about it. Display ride. That's the answer. So we'll bring our panelists on, just so you guys know. I'm hi, Display Red. I'm trying to work through something I'm trying to do for them, where I'm going to actually play this out, and you guys will maybe know it better when I do. So we'll see. Hello, everybody. Hello, Tom. Hello, Brandon. Hello, Tony. What's up, guys?
What's up?
All right. So we got some topics tonight for sure. And they're not the most fun ones, but they're ones that we absolutely should digest. Spark, Walmart Spark. We got Brandon here. Brandon does a lot of Spark. I know he's had his ups and downs, shall I say? How should I say it, Brandon?
That's about it. roller coasters.
Right. So I mean, like what all of us are feeling around the country. I always go to Brandon first because I know that's become like his primary one when he is doing app work, I feel like. And so he really does have a feel on it, and he doesn't see some of he's aware of the problems, but he doesn't see it in his market, or maybe he does, but nonetheless, even the problem or not, Walmart has its own problems, but tonight we're going to get into some of this because there was some mass deactivations last week, as well as some really nasty, or we finally saw an actual customer calling out the problem on DoorDash and illegal accounts. So we're going to go through that. We got an unbelievable scary story. It's dark. It's very dark, and I'll warn you guys, it's the second story. It's probably one of the darkest ones we've ever had. Or it is the darkest one we've ever had on the roundtable. And then we're going to do a third topic tonight, summertime door dashing versus delivered. So we'll roll with those. And before I move on, congrats to Hannibal, 70,000 subs.
Good job.
Yeah, I mean, Hannibal was that's the roundtable did it for him. He wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the roundtable.
Shout out to the roundtable.
No,
That's right, man.
He'd be at 69,998.
He definitely wouldn't be at 70, I'll tell you what. So, hey, Jason Thierry. Hey, Traveler. Hey, Kevin Hawthorne. Hey, Bubba Sue. Hey, Christopher Taylor. Hey, Anthony. Hey, Thomas Mathis. Hey, Christopher Taylor. Ivanaska. High Speed Drifter. Who am I missing here? Let's say Dashing Grandpa, but he's up here with us. Crystal Kimmy, how you doing? Delivering with Ellen, and I think I got everybody. Nice. I'm gonna try and keep up the chat tonight a little bit. But okay, I'm gonna get this first one going. We're gonna watch a short video. It's on Spark, and it was sent to me by Luis at Delivery TV, and he sent it to me this morning. And he is Venezuelan. If you guys aren't familiar with his channel, it's Hispanic. But if you're bilingual or if you know any people who are Hispanic doing gig work and you don't think they have a channel, send them over to Delivery TV. But we're going to watch this and we're going to discuss this on the other side because this is pretty bad. Like, I mean, finally we're starting to get some, some people actually talking about this. Hold on. You guys can talk amongst yourselves while I try and get this. Somebody's got to talk. We can't have like dry.
So how's the weather out there? It's hot. We're in another heat wave. It's gross,
Yeah.
but that's Jersey weather.
It's gross.
108.
It was 101 here today, so we got it too.
Yeah.
But do you have the humidity? You don't have humidity.
Bro,
I'm sick of people saying dry
38%.
heat. No, you know
Hot
what?
is
Hot is
hot.
hot, dude.
You know, the
That's
sun
fine.
is closer to us with the altitude, so it feels different.
So that driver had no insurance,
hold on.
didn't have a driver's license, and the company behind the delivery,
I'm gonna have
the
to
car
roll
he
it
was
back.
driving didn't seem to be much help. That is until the woman got Fox 4 on her side.
Here's Consumer
Reporter.
Reporter. North Texas for the 4th of July holiday ended up with a 5-digit repair bill after a delivery driver hit her parked car.
So that driver had no insurance, didn't have a driver's license, and the company behind the delivery, the car he was driving didn't seem to be much help. That is until the woman got Fox 4 on her side.
Here's Consumer Reporter Steve Noviello.
On a recent visit to this quiet suburban street in Frisco, Elena Hollipeter says it was the kind of sound she instantly recognized.
Screech and a pop. I was praying, like, please don't let that be my car. I know that's my car, but please don't let it be my car.
Take a look at this video she shot minutes after she heard the screech. It was her car parked on the street and hit by a man making a delivery a few houses down. Here's the order on his phone. It was a delivery from Walmart, but there was a problem.
We realized that this driver did not have registration or driver's license, as well as he was uninsured.
Elena took a photo of his Venezuelan driver's license and his expired registration, and she called Frisco PD. A bilingual officer responded so he could speak with Elena and the Venezuelan driver. They filed this police report.
The police officer said that there wasn't much else they could do to help.
We spoke with Elena via Zoom from her home in Norman, Oklahoma. She told us, according to this body shop estimate, it would take more than $4,000 to get her car fixed. While still in Frisco, she says she headed to the Walmart on Stonebrook at 423 to try and find a solution.
We spoke with one of the managers. She had to call in another manager, and this manager was starting to open up the case until they found out that this driver was a Spark driver. And once they found out that it wasn't a Walmart operated vehicle, they shut everything down.
That in spite of this, she says as she waited in line at customer service, she spotted the man who had hit her car.
The driver came right up to us. He seemed pretty happy. He was like, hey, shook my boyfriend's hand, shook my hand, and then went on his way.
According to a Walmart spokesperson, Spark is Walmart's delivery platform that provides opportunities for independent contractors across the country to make deliveries for Walmart and other merchants. Here's the Walmart copyright and the Walmart logo on the Spark website, driveforspark.walmart.com. In the FAQs, it details all drivers must have a valid social security number, a U.S. driver's license, and insurance. But none of that seemed to matter. According to Elena, she was denied.
It wasn't even a Walmart car, shut it down.
Elena says she persisted and contacted Walmart corporate claims, but tells us she didn't get very far.
They did not offer case number. The first person that we had spoken with said that we're going to expect to hear a call from Walmart claims services within 48 hours.
48 hours came and went. Nothing. So she called again.
They couldn't find the order number. They couldn't find the name of the person who got the delivery. They couldn't find my name or his email or even the location of Frisco.
She detailed the crash incident again to Walmart and then to Spark directly, who told her,
we're going to review this with my team, but I can't make any promises to you that we're going to give you compensation for this.
That's when she got one final piece of advice.
My boyfriend's father watches you and your channel a lot, so he needed to reach out to you saying, Save Me Steve is this guy that speaks and advocates for people that are getting screwed over by massive companies like this.
Armed with all of the information Elena had gathered, those photos, her accident scene video, the police report, and estimate for repairs, we contacted Walmart corporate PR. Less than 24 hours later, Elena had a settlement offer in hand. Full payment for all damages. So what happened here? Well, according to a Walmart spokesperson, the driver who hit Elena's car is not an authorized driver on the Spark platform, and it appears that an eligible vetted user on the app fraudulently allowed him to make deliveries for them under their account, which has now been deactivated. But we asked, what about Elena's account of store management recognizing that driver? Remember, she said she saw him when she went to the store to complain. He even shook her hand. Walmart corporate had nothing more to add. On your side, I'm Steve Noviello, Fox 4 News.
So what's up? I mean, this is like this. I see it in the chat. You know, I see Mr. DSM. Wow, this is an in-depth story. Spark scammer for sure. This is getting out of hand. Christopher Taylor, yeah, the story you sent me, we'll be talking about here a little later. We are talking about that tonight. But what do you guys think of this? I mean, this is like mainstream reporting on migrant accounts.
It's every day.
Right, but it's new to mainstream to go that far into it because somebody's car got clipped.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, first of all, she got ripped off twice, you know, besides the Spark stuff. Who's ever charging her $4,000 to replace that bit of her car is, and they said it was a five-digit repair bill. Sorry, $4,405 was only 4 digits, but the story said at the beginning it was 5-digit. I was like, come on, guys. But seriously, that's not a $4,000 bill, but whatever.
But Tom, like, she probably doesn't even have a body shop. If you blindly go to a body shop,
I know. Yeah, that's
or it looked like a brand. Honestly, it looked like I don't know cars, but it looked like a newer car. So maybe she went to the dealership. If you go to the dealership, everything's expensive at a dealership.
I was gonna say like something that like that. If you go to if I went to the Toyota dealership, which I don't, but if I did, where like I bought my RAV4, something like that, I would expect 3,500 plus. No matter, I would just expect that before, like no matter what it is. Like, That's just what it costs. Like if something's damaged, it's just going to be really high.
Well, it all has to be repainted. That's where your cost is going to come in.
Really out there.
Yeah. Well, aside from that, though, let's say it was 3,000, which might still be high, but at the same time, the point isn't the amount of money done to the car. I mean, I'm kind of surprised this guy stops and he's looking at him and he gives him the Venezuela ID.
Usually they drop their IDs at the border.
I was going to say, like, that's everything I've heard is, but maybe he doesn't have another one yet. So he's like, well, this is better than nothing. Maybe he just doesn't know. But I would imagine they tell you that kind of stuff, whoever's running you over. But I don't know. I found it surprising that he still has it. He shows it. That's all he has. And he's driving a car that isn't his. It's an illegal account.
I don't understand why. Like, I know the cops were called. They did a report, but why wasn't something else done with this person who didn't have a legal driver's license, insurance, any information, any of that stuff?
Yeah, the cops probably didn't. The cops probably weren't there for 24, 48 hours. He was probably long gone by the time they got there.
Yeah. Don't you have to call
in Texas fender benders do not get cops showing up.
Really?
In New Jersey, you can't. Kind of the same here.
No.
A couple of weeks ago, I was downtown. I saw a known accident in downtown Houston with injuries. 14, count them, 14 tow trucks showed up before the first cop got there.
Wow, no, in New Jersey, you can't leave the scene of a crime, including a fender bender.
Just give it time, Kim, because they didn't used to do that here either. And like Tony does too. Like if you're in an accident here, if you call 911, they're like, well, are you guys out of the road? Like they start talking to you and they're like, can you just exchange information and take pictures? And because we're busy. That's what they do.
Really?
And if they do show up, you get one of these, just a piece of notebook paper, and they'll write a case number on it. And that's your report.
See, ours give us a little website. There's even a website in Denver you can go to where you do this whole claim. So you can actually stand there and do it with one person in real time.
And they charge you like $25 to fill out the report if you're in Denver County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that they could have got her on is she was parked the wrong direction.
Yeah, I thought that too.
They could have caught her on that one. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it is law.
You mean during all this they write her a ticket? Is that what you're saying?
The insurance could have denied it.
Oh,
but
that would have been brutal, though.
She was illegally parked.
But going back to Spark and not this lady, like when does something bad have to happen? I mean, it was a fender bender, her car was, broken, whatever. But when do they wake up and say, hello, there's a huge issue?
When somebody gets killed or raped.
I know, $4,000. I mean, what happens if she was standing in front of her car when this happened? Like there could have been so many different outcomes, but when do they wake up and see what's happening?
Yeah, they sent a letter out the other day talking about you wasn't supposed to go into anybody's houses, which is already in the terms of use, but they're reiterating that now. So,
while at the same time, other apps are starting to promote going into houses.
Yeah.
Well, apparently something happened somewhere that we don't know about because they wouldn't reiterating it just because out of the clear blue. So something went on somewhere.
Brandon, what do you know about what do you know about the mass, and I'm talking mass deactivations now that happened last week? A handful of them that I know of who reached out to me got back to me and said they were reactivated. It was all facial recognition issue. And there was a lot.
Yeah, a glitch.
Right, but there was a lot of Spark drivers deactivated on Thursday.
I read about it. I don't know anybody that had any issues with it here, but I did read about it.
I mean, it was over like 10,000 accounts in 48 hours were deactivated because of facial recognition.
It made me go back on and look at mine like, was I? And I'm like, no, I'm good. But it made me even question my own account. Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of times when I turn the app on, I'm here at home and I'll turn on my light, for when I'm doing reviews, I turn that light on because I don't want the lighting to be bad. I want it clear as can be because facial recognition can be off just a little bit. And then if your lighting's bad.
Yes.
But I think that whole deal was just a glitch. It really, the app, somebody screwed up an update, and Spark is good about messing things up on their updates.
But this, when they happen on that mass level, and it's like, you know, a migrant account like this one, or just in a normal legal account, whatever, like, I'm sure that we don't hear those stories as much, but I don't know what it is. I can't say it's any specific one thing, but something tells me that these migrant accounts don't get, and the illegal accounts of any sorts don't get attacked like we do. And again, we've always had our theories about they take the $3, $1, no dollar orders. So of course they're not being bothered, but I don't think that when these happen, they're getting attacked.
Well, I do know, and I think you or somebody had mentioned it before, and I did run across the video. She was called the Venezuelan mafia leader or something.
Camilla. Yeah.
Was that what her name was? And
Something.
you know, she can have somebody reactivated and a new ID and social security number and everything else within 30 minutes.
It was Camilla or something.
Yeah, I just watched. I guess you mentioned that, and then when I saw the video, I watched it, and I'm like, "That's great!" And she laid it out how to do it, and they publicized it.
I mean,
But
Tony,
we
when
do
you
have
hear
a
this,
problem here.
look at, if any of us heard this story, Tom, Tony, whatever, Kim, if any of us heard this story like 2 years ago, we'd have been like, wait, what? You know, like, I mean, this far, you know, like really, like you have nothing on you except for an ID card that you should have thrown away at the border. It's completely worthless. And it actually is, it's proving a point here even harder. Guess what? We know where he came from because his ID says it.
It goes against her.
Right.
I mean, we just, you know, it just goes to the narrative. And for a long time, a lot of this community was saying it's not happening, or it's not on the level that you guys think. I mean, Tony and I live in the #1 per capita migrant city in the nation now. And
Right.
so,
Well, and that story is out of Frisco, not Colorado, but over there in the Dallas Fort
Texas.
Worth area.
Yeah.
There's over 10,000 people coming across that border every day.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean,
I don't
they
know.
got drones showing it.
I guess I'm waiting for what Spark is going to do, because I feel like they have too much, like,
Walmart
even there.
owns the Spark platform now, though. Didn't
Is it
they
what?
buy it? Didn't Walmart buy it from DDI?
Yeah, I thought they did a while ago.
Yeah. Or they
Yeah.
purchased DDI.
But did you
Yeah,
hear in
they
this story how they're like, whoa, Spark driver? No.
Oh, that's not us.
And Tony has experience with Walmart. So, you know, like how they've obviously separated Spark as its own thing.
You know, when I was working there, my store didn't have, like, Spark was not even in Colorado yet.
Right. I don't even know if Spark was born yet.
It wasn't
It wasn't that long ago that I worked at Walmart.
I don't know how long Spark's been around. Well, yeah, it was.
Like I'm as old as Rocks or something. When Rocks first saw
Tony's older than Walmart.
I just think they're going to keep putting blinders on until something like really bad happens or someone forces them to do something about it. Right now, no one's forcing them to do anything. So what's the big deal?
Yeah, and Walmart's not going to shut it down because that's millions of dollars that they're making just off of drivers.
Yeah, well, I'll just tell you that any of these big corporations, especially these gig app ones, they're taking advantage of the whole situation. So why would they stop it?
They wouldn't. If you own the business, you wouldn't either.
You can't tell me
I
that.
would. I would.
Morals, you would, but in reality,
No,
I
but
wouldn't start a business that does that.
logically, though, you can't tell me that a tech company, aka DoorDash, and one of the largest retailers in the world don't know what's going on their platforms. I don't buy it one single bit.
they know.
They know.
So I wanted to see this because I saw this thrown into.
I mean, they were like banning Slavic from his one store in Kentucky, and so they could totally take care of it at the store level. They don't even have to go up to corporate.
So this one's interesting. Here's why I'm interested in this one, because we never talk about Spark. I would imagine they're under AB or under Prop 22. So I would think Spark is losing a lot of money when they're doing these lowball offers in California, but I guess they're already losing a lot. But I never, oddly, I just imagine it, but I've never even seen their name affiliated with Prop 22. So if anybody from California can verify, do you get Prop 22 with Spark? I'd like to know. But you guys, yeah, I mean, this is just, hopefully everybody now knows, and I think we all do. Everybody watching this, and if you are new to it, this is a whole situation. It's way beyond oversaturation. It is one of the primary apps that are being targeted, as well as DoorDash, but Spark too, but of all the illegal accounts. It must be very easy to create them. The bots, the freezing out zones, migrant accounts are easiest on Spark. I don't know why Walmart, who has the money to do things properly, is doing the worst job. Potentially DoorDash, but
that's my point. You have all these huge companies, like they have the means to stop it. They're just not doing it.
Yeah, and to this, I would say anybody who missed the piece that I did with, because you guys might have overlooked and gone, what is this? But if you missed the live I did this week with the CEO and founder of Incognia, please go back and watch that, because he actually had to say, well, some of the people you just named are clients of mine, so I can't speak directly. But I mean, like, we spoke as directly after that by me not using the names. And we went through why facial recognition is nothing more than like a simple CAPTCHA, and it needs to be changed. And he's working with I was like DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber, Instacart. And he goes, yeah. After the fact, he's like, all of those are my clients. I mean, Incognia is on 500 million devices globally. Like, it's on Kim's, it's on Tom's, it's on Brandon's, and it's on Tony's. Here's why. Because if you have any gig apps on your consumer, or that you do the gig apps on your phone, Incognia is in their code. So, like, there was a comment on one of my videos where somebody said, I went into the code, and actually it was that video, because they said I went into the code with one of their like code readers, and they're like, it's funny you're talking about this, because I saw Incognia everywhere in the DoorDash code. So he's working with them, and I was like, I got into, they just don't care about us, this, that, the other. And he was like, well, they do. I'm like, but not the people. They just care about, they just care, like, it's a little bit of trickling down to the workers, but really they just care about, we got to make a profit. And they're not. And so, yeah. Anyway, we're going to move to the darkest story we've ever done here. You guys, and it's not to get excited about. This is a tough one. I was even thinking about it. This is a tough one for me to even like read and walk us through. But I feel like we have to. I do talk about Uber and Lyft doing teenage rides. This is one of the worst stories I've ever read, ever. Uber driver delivered 12 and 13-year-old to accused sex traffickers home. The parents of two girls are suing Uber, saying the ride-sharing company allowed their 12 and 13-year-old daughters to be trafficked from South Carolina to a man's North Carolina home where one girl was raped. The lawsuit says Uber is aware of the problem with its platform, that it's a popular form of transportation to traffic victims sexually, primarily minor girls across the United States. In 2023, the North Carolina man was accused sex trafficker already, started grooming the 12-year-old over Facebook, and later ordered an Uber to have her and her friend delivered to his home. According to a complaint filed July 24th in York County, South Carolina, Favion Williams was convicted of statutory rape of a minor and sexual exploitation of a minor on July 2nd. Sent the Uber to pick up the girls down the street from their mother's house late November. And the Uber driver didn't ask the girls about their ages, even though they were noticeably underage, according to the complainant. Out of fear, the 13-year-old girl, this is on the way to there, told the driver that they, quote unquote, they were younger than their actual ages in an attempt to get him to cancel the ride and refuse to drive them. However, the driver kept driving and took the girls to the North Carolina home. After the girls were dropped off, Williams took them into his backyard and encouraged them to smoke marijuana. The lawsuit says then he walked them inside his home, where they saw an older man inside playing video games. When Williams propositioned the girls to perform sex acts, the 13-year-old girl refused, according to the complainant. He ordered the other girl, who was scared Williams might hurt her, as she knew he likely had a gun, to his room, where he violently raped her and filmed the assault. This is horrific and this is a quote. This is horrific and tragic situation that has upended the lives of these families, all made possible by Uber because of their negligence and their steadfast prioritization of profits over safety. And that's the Clarkson law firm attorney Tracy Cohen, who is representing the case. So Uber is actively participating in and profiting from the trafficking of minors and doesn't care who it hurts along the way. That's the same thing from the lawyer. The girls' parents are suing Uber on multiple claims, including negligence, intentional infliction of emotional distress and trafficking. An Uber spokesperson told the news here that the details of the incident are horrific. And this is a quote, "We take our role helping to combat human trafficking seriously and have spent years investing in prevention efforts, including providing every driver with educational resources on how to identify the signs of human trafficking and report suspended cases." The second Uber ride. So now all this has happened. I would think the story ends here. It doesn't. So this guy Williams now orders a second Uber ride to go from North Carolina back to South Carolina. The Uber driver, who responds to Williams' request for a ride, allows the girls to get in the car, 2 in a row, and didn't ask their ages. The driver remained silent for the hour-long drive across state lines. During the ride, the 12-year-old told her friend she had been raped. The Uber driver dropped the girls off at a park near one of the mother's homes that Williams had chosen as the drop-off, despite the fact that there were no parents waiting for them, according to the complaint. The 13-year-old's mother had been searching for the girls and emerged from a parked car at the park as they exited the Uber. The mother rushed over to the driver, asking where they came from. The all Uber driver 2, this one, said was something along the lines of some guy named Fabian paid for the ride. That's all he knew. That's all he cared about. A day later, Williams messaged the 13-year-old on Facebook and shared a video of himself raping her friend. The rape was ultimately reported to authorities in South Carolina and North Carolina, where Williams was arrested. Williams is detained at the Piedmont Correctional Institute in Salisbury, North Carolina, about 45 miles north or northeast of Charlotte. And he has been transferred to prison awaiting this. But here's the last part. With their lawsuit, the girls' parents are hoping for change from Uber. The lawsuit accuses Uber of not implementing safety measures, including enhanced background checks and mandatory dashboard cameras. The company told McClathy News that Uber's global investigations team works hand in hand with law enforcement to help bring suspected traffickers to justice. Uber advises its drivers to cancel rides with unaccompanied minors who don't have a teen account with the platform. The company also offers drivers tips on preventing underage riding online, on how to report a canceled ride due to unaccompanied minors. However, Sarah Beller, a Clarkson law firm associate, said in the statement that Uber has continuously ignored their drivers picking up unaccompanied minors and no action has been taken. The girl's parents are seeking an unspecified amount of damages and are demanding a jury trial.
I have a question because I'm a little confused. How did the girls get from being picked up to this guy's house? Like, did they order an Uber and he took them to the wrong place? Like, how did they get picked up and then dropped off at a different location?
He had been communicating with her on Facebook.
Okay, that's what I was missing.
So he had been like, that's why they said grooming. For a year, he had been kind of just,
Got it.
I don't
Okay,
even want
I
to use
missed
the
that.
word flirting because it's so messed up and gross, but whatever it is, he was doing whatever he was doing.
He was grooming.
Grooming, I guess that's the term. So he was grooming. That's the term they used anyway. But he was grooming these girls to come up there.
Why?
And so he sent the car and they went and met him at the park. And
Yeah, he ordered the Uber from where he was to pick them up on his account.
Oh, so the mother didn't even know.
Like,
I was trying to
they
figure out
didn't
the whole.
use Uber Teen. They just used regular Uber
but,
X.
see, but hold on. This is proof of get rid of that crap. Tony, you and I have been driving long enough to know that this shouldn't have even been introduced. I don't care if driver's licenses are down for 16-year-olds getting their license. We also went through a major pandemic 4 years ago, so things are just off, and they're still coming back. I mean, they're coming back a lot quicker, but we're still rebuilding some pieces. So I would guess 16-year-olds getting their license might go back up over the years. Who knows? My point is that is no reason. I know Uber operates like this, but that is no reason to go against the only moral compass thing you've had since the beginning. No unaccompanied minors. Unless you create an Uber Teen account, which goes under your account, and then we can totally illegally take them. Knowing that all this sexual trafficking is going on.
Yeah, and how's Facebook off the hook on this too?
I'm so blown away by this. Like, to me, like, can you imagine? First of all, can you imagine being the lawyer who works for Uber, who they sent to defend this case?
Yeah.
I mean, I said her name, but I literally, I'm not kidding. Maybe somebody would say, well, if you were in her shoes, different story. Nope. I would actually quit. This would make me quit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's
not a
why
chance I would
you're
represent this
a
case.
lawyer that works for Uber.
But if I was, and I had never been a driver and I didn't know, okay, they want to hire me, great. But they assigned me to this case, I'm gone. Are you kidding me?
Right.
I'm not going to defend your
But
company here.
I'm just saying it's the kind of person that accepts that role.
I mean, Brandon, I see you looking disgusted down there. What are your thoughts here?
I'm old school. Hook the guy up to the bumper and drag him.
Yeah. Yeah. Or hook them up between two and let's split them in half.
Dragging. Much more.
Yeah. I guess I'm just saying, like,
I'm not a good person to ask.
No, you are, because
I'm old school.
And so am I. And here's the thing, like, this isn't like, oh, Uber created a problem like this. No, there's always been a problem of abusing minors, and now there's social media. There's people called out who didn't do it, and there's some mix-ups, but it is happening more, and there is lots of people being transferred around. And I mean, if it's on their radar that they're being used for sex trafficking, why the hell do they have Uber Teen?
They shouldn't have that at all, but they should be totally 100% responsible.
Well, I mean, responsible to what? Cough up the money that they're going to owe this?
Well, you can't fix that little girl's life.
No
money is going to do that.
No,
but I would try to settle. But the driver is probably as much responsible as Uber themselves, but because he did pick them up.
2 different drivers and no drivers denied.
Yeah.
I mean, you send a Tony or I out, we're not picking, or a Tom, we're not picking those people up.
No.
Yeah, the only way I would have picked up those girls if I were the second driver is that they told me what happened, and I would have taken them to the hospital or the place, and not on Uber, just as a parent.
Right.
Brian, thank you for saying that, because it is Tom's birthday, or Jerry's birthday, and Jerry is back with us here today. So happy birthday, Mr. Garcia. I know you've been dead a while. No pun intended.
Yeah, about 20 years.
Looks pretty good to be a dead person.
So, yeah, I hear you, Marion. It is. I mean, it's not only heartbreaking. I said we've done 130 of these, and I said, I mean, that's a bold comment because we've talked about some. This isn't always gnarly stuff, but we've talked about some gnarly cases. This is the nastiest one I think I've heard. And I guess it's partially because there's 2 Uber drivers involved.
Yeah.
I mean, the one girl saying that she got raped in the back. How's he not hear that? You know, and like, and then on the way up, the other one gives the other driver a tip, like that something's wrong. What's going on? You know,
people don't pay any attention to anybody anymore. They just out of sight, out of mind, give me my money and move on.
Yeah, but a 13-year-old and a 12-year-old girl. Look, I might ignore the 2 drunk guys in the back too. Have done it many times, tuned them out because they just annoyed me so bad. But a 12 and a 13-year-old girl wouldn't pick them up, would have made an issue about it too. I wouldn't have just left. I wouldn't have just canceled and drove away. I would have like I always did. Tony knows this. Tom knows this. You know, I would have called Uber. I would have said, what the heck's going on here? You know, like even though I know that now they don't have the unaccompanied because they have the teen accounts, but that is not a solution to the problem.
No. And that would have gave them less of an out too, because if you or I denied them and then we called them and then somebody else, like always, comes and picks up the people that we just said they were too young and they said we will investigate this and blah blah blah, when they never do, then they would have been on the hook even more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I see that Dog Chapman here is saying like there are so many various levels of this issue and this story, you know, from Facebook to Uber, and also wondering where the parents were. I think that I mean, a lot of this is left out, obviously, and their attorney isn't speaking on behalf of this, but my guess is this park, because the mom went back to there. So I'm getting that the parents cared a lot, in fact, and that this was a big deal because she was at the park waiting for him. So my guess is like, they said, we're going to the park. They went to the park, but through Facebook, this had already been arranged. So she's like, she probably drove down to the park and says, where are they? Starts going nuts, calling the friend. I mean, like, I got to say, I've let, you know, when Max was that age, I let him go hang out with his friends and stuff. So,
yeah, I guarantee that the kids both told their parents they were doing something different.
Well, sure.
You know how these groomers, they will tell these kids the exact storylines that they need to tell their parents, and if they change it, they will kill them or hurt them or something drastic that they couldn't ever achieve, but it scares the little kids.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think it scared every adult on this panel and every person in this live stream. I mean, I see Eric Berry's like, you know, horrible story, but why did the parents not show or not know where the kids are? Again, I'm sure there's more of a story to this. I'm sure part of it is that going up against Uber, you don't want your attorney to say your whole story. I know that sounds weird, but again, remember, you're dealing with like one of the shadiest corporations there is. Of course, your attorney saying, listen, we're not going to tell our side of the story. Because they're requesting a jury trial.
Yeah, I hope they don't let them get out of court settlement.
No, I'm thinking that's part of what it is. You know, these parents maybe it's not about the money. And that's what we need is a case like that, where they're like, no, we're going to take the jury trial.
Right. Well, and they have a lot of responsibility to help these 2 girls to have whatever mental health help that they need.
Well, you know, I don't know. I don't think when you say what they need, I'm with Brandon. I don't think you can. I'm not saying she's broken, but you're not going to be able to help this girl.
Yeah, that's why I say it's got to be whatever she needs. They have to supply it. Like, it has to be whatever ongoing help throughout whatever amount of time her life is, even beyond being a minor.
Right, which means it's going to be like calculated, because you can't trust like a time payment with Uber. It's got to be a judgment. So they're going to come up with 40, 50 million, whatever. And you know what? I hate to say I'm biased, but if I'm sitting on this jury, you're damn well sure I don't care what dollar amount you put on it. I'm going to be thinking go higher. Because I'm going to side with you and I'm going to throw Uber under the bus.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a story going on around, I think it was on TikTok. There's a guy, I believe it's in Oregon. He's already been convicted and served time for raping a 12-year-old. And now he's putting it on TikTok and made the videos that he's wanting to legalize teaching children how to make love.
What?
And this is going on in Oregon. There's a guy up there. It's on TikTok. So,
dude, how
they're trying to legalize it.
And you can't say things like, "Oh, be a homeschool parent" on TikTok and get banned, and then these kinds of people are allowed to be on there.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. People talking about Facebook allowing this. I mean, TikTok's allowing that. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the government wanted to ban TikTok is because they're not regulated as much as the other ones. But
the Facebook marketplace is the worst, dude.
Oh, I can't even post
market of.
I can't even post a wheelchair on Facebook Market because it's medical, but yet you can.
Yeah, you can traffic humans on there and sell state IDs and credit scores, but you can't sell a barbecue.
Yeah, and you can't sell anything medical.
Well, I don't know. I think we're at a point where I'm like, it for a while with me, I'm like, Facebook has the resources to dig into this and take care of this. Now I'm just at a point of like, okay, shut Facebook Marketplace down. It's doing more black market deals than it is legit. I mean, there's black market stuff that used to be on only the dark web where you could get like, you probably weren't going to get scammed, but you could buy like nuclear missiles and stuff. Yeah, okay, well, now that's on Marketplace.
Yeah, look at eBay.
I mean, Jesus. Like, I'm sure you're going to most likely get scammed. And I mean, you should if you're trying to buy that kind of stuff, because what do you need it for? But again, like, why isn't it just shut down? I mean, even when I was looking for a car for Max for my son, I was on Facebook Marketplace. That's where most of it was done. I mean, Tony went with me when I got the car. So like I met the guy in a parking lot and we evaluated him. They were cool. It was him and his daughter, and it was his daughter's car, and she wanted to sell it, and he was a really nice guy, and we knew what we were getting, so that kind of thing. But I looked through so many where it was a scam, because when I called, you could tell this lady's like, which one are you calling about? I'm like, no, this doesn't fit the ad. The ad is, this is your only car, you're selling it. What do you mean, which one? Like,
we have posts on Marketplace here, and some of the little towns that'll have a house for rent for $650, and it'll have big old aspen trees in the backyard. And there's no way. There is no trees like that in this part of Texas. Oak trees and pecan trees and cottonwoods. That's the only big trees here. But they just need to regulate stuff and watch it better.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, until they can, I honestly don't think they can, because then look at Instagram, who's owned by Facebook as well. Like every single bot company there is, this is just gig app too. So I'm sure there's lots of other things, but on TikTok, on all these others, I mean, Tony knows this. I've been doing this for a while, just as a test. If I make a video on TikTok and I put Instagram, no troll video, do not troll this video, doesn't matter. Within a day, I will have 20 troll accounts saying, hey, you want to activate your account? You want bots? What do you need? What do you need? Opening up their coat, offering me all these Instacart incentives and, but they're always go to Instagram. So here we are on TikTok, what everybody calls the sketchiest platform, and it's telling you to go to Instagram and hit up this handle. It's always a handle on Instagram. So it's not Facebook Marketplace either. It's a handle on Instagram.
Yeah, I stopped posting on Instagram.
Maybe I'm going off a little tonight, but this story made me sick.
Mm-hmm.
And
I have 5 daughters, so yeah, definitely.
It's cases like this. I think they need to take that person and releasing with everybody knowing where they're releasing him. and
Oh,
saying
you
we
know,
won't be on duty and we will not be in town, but we're going to release that person right there, and y'all can.
Yeah, I don't think that person's getting released, but if
Well, you know what I'm saying.
yeah.
where they're going, they're gonna have the same result or worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just-
mean, it's like Jeffrey Dahmer when he went to jail. He was supposed to be in protective custody from day one, and they threw him into general population. Said, "Oops, made a mistake." Like,
So Eric Berry has a question. Panelists here that have children, do you know what your children are doing online, and do you have limitations to online use?
I used to when my son was of that age. Now he's pretty responsible, so I'm my search history is probably dirtier than his. So,
right, well, all of my children are minors, and none of them have the Safari app on their phone. And when they are on the internet for school, it's where Lisa or I can be involved with what's going on that screen.
Yeah, my daughter's too young yet, but it will be monitored. Let's put it that way.
Luckily Kim's going to majorly prepare for this. She'll be one of those parents who's very well aware of all the problems.
And I forgot to mention, there's no social media on any of their devices at all.
Yeah, there are some. I don't know if Tony's using one, but there are some good. I used to have one. I mean, I haven't had to now, so I don't know what the newest, brightest, prettiest box one is, but they used to have some pretty good parental control apps where you really had full control of the phone.
Yeah, well, just using Apple alone is like you can shut down pretty much anything on it. That's why I switched the family devices all to Apple, because I can control it pretty good.
No, I mean, even when Max was getting older in teenage years though, I would get a thing that said he's trying to download this app. Would you approve it? I had an app that would do that for me, and I'd be like, no.
Yeah. Well, that's what my Apple family account does too. Like, they have to get approval to be able to download things.
When my kids was young enough, they didn't have none of that. They didn't even have ad blockers. And my son was into gaming and looking up those cheat codes and stuff. You can imagine what kind of pop-ups you would get on that. We walked in one day and he was trying to close them all. He was about 9 years old, 10. He didn't know anything what it was, but it just kept popping up. Now everything is so much better. Well, I say it's better. You can control a little more.
Yeah. It's funny. This is so true. I always say I am the nicest, kindest person you will probably ever meet, but don't mess with my family. Don't mess with my kid. You'll see a whole different side of me come out.
Look, Tony's the same way. I'm the same way. I'm sure Tom was the same way. Brandon, it doesn't I'm a single dad and I'm the same way. I'm like a mountain lion when it comes to Max. Now these days he's got himself. Tony knows, he's got his Michelins and
he's got his fresh Miches.
I feel like though, and I know my daughter is still young, but I feel like I'm getting a whole new education going through stuff again, because when I was a kid, there was no internet, there was no social media, there were no apps, there were no cell phones, none of that even existed. I did my papers on word processors. That's how old I am. I'm so old. I was before Google.
My first papers I had to write, I actually had to use a typewriter because we didn't have a computer.
I had to take a typing class. Dude,
I took a typing class.
Guess what, people? There was a time I had to write things.
Yeah, I had to write in a rough draft, but when I turned in the paper,
I had to learn cursive. I tried to teach my son. He's like, why would I need to know this stupid thing?
I was a sophomore in high school before we ever got computers in high school.
It honestly, sometimes it baffles my brain. I'm actually very glad that I grew up in the era that I did, because I didn't have to worry about, the peer pressure of social media or being bullied on. That wasn't even in our scope. I think the biggest thing we ever had to worry about was I don't even know what the biggest thing we had to worry, but it wasn't social media. It's crazy. Different worlds.
Jeans and Vans and stuff like that.
Yeah, guys, I really wanted to get to these other ones. Maybe we can just go through this short, briefest one. It's 3 paragraphs. I can just at least give you the bells and whistles of an update, and we'll kind of tease it for next week because we're running out of time here. But Kim and I were going to do a thing where we're going to talk about summer door dashing versus doing delivered, let's say, because delivered is a direct link with Easy Cater. I don't know, Kim, if you want to give a quick little take on that, and then I want to at least mention this Seattle City Council thing. We'll leave it on the tips of your tongues.
Sure. So we all know a lot of times during the summer, we go through a summer slowdown in DoorDash and a lot of these other apps. And I know we preach a lot, at least I preach a lot about multi-apping. And lately, it's been, I hate to say diversifying yourself, but catering has become a big part of what I do, and in particular, delivered. So if you guys haven't really checked out delivered, it might be something that you might want to do. It has literally, do I get an order every single day? I think it's all market dependent, but it is a really good other source of income that has worked for me. I think I've been on it for almost a year and a half, maybe 2 years now, and I'm really glad that I have put it into my mix, so when times are slow, I have delivered to rely on. So I highly recommend everybody go check them out if you haven't done so already, or put them in your mix. At least go see if it's in your market.
Yeah, and like Ellen said as well here, prayers to Gig Mom's daughter. Ellen had sent me the video. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but you can go see it on Gig Mom's channel. Damn, that's dark. It's just a bunch of dark stuff. But so here's a little light at the tunnel. Chris sent over that to Kim's. There you go, Kim.
Yeah, thank you, Christopher.
So app-based delivery company DoorDash will add an additional $1.99 fee to long-distance food orders August 1st if the city council in Seattle does not overhaul the city's minimum wage for drivers. The city has been, the committee passed the reversal of the bill 3 months ago, but the city council is sitting on the bill because they want to try very hard not to let that, because it's a decrease in this is proof this doesn't work, guys. It's a decrease is what the committee passed. They said, you guys need to enact this. It needs to go in place because they can't afford to pay the drivers that how that hourly works anymore. And they've lost a ton of money, tens of millions this year alone in Seattle, the platforms. DoorDash to date was like 30 million or something that they've lost to date. And so they need this removed. And that's on top of, after the city council, DoorDash, for example, added a $4.99 charge that the company put in place that shows the customer on every order, $4.99 city council whatever fee on top of the other fees. And then the $1.99 is going to be for anything long distance. So anything that is going outside of the direct Seattle area. And then the only other last thing I wanted to show you guys here, and this really bummed me out, you guys. This is add a tip. So on Uber, when you get to this point, add a tip is, it used to read on the bottom, just so you know, 15% was where 11 is. Where 15 is, it said 19. Where 19 is, it said 23. Where 23 is, it said 25. And then custom was still there. Now it's 11, 15, 19, 23 custom, but it defaults to 15%. So it's going 5% under the norm of tipping. And it's allowed for a lower one. And even the notch up is still 1% above. So the first three options are now under what you're supposed to tip. The only one in there that's above is 23 and obviously custom tip. So you've got 11, 15, 19 and custom tip because you can go under 11. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 options to go under the 20%. And you have 2 options to go above it. This is pathetic. I mean, this isn't a hidden thing either. This is my market. This is what I now see. Now, I'm obviously this was just brought up so I could show you guys, because I always go in and everything's custom tip with me. I try and make it like an even amount, just because in case I run into the driver, I always ask, did you get a 20 tip? Like, it's an easy number. I can be like, did you get a $20 tip? Because I want to see it, because I've had drivers out there before and we've matched them. And oddly, you guys know me. Clearly, if I get one that isn't, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to get the guy to send it to me. But they've always matched. But this is just pathetic. And I got to say it, this is just pathetic.
Yeah, there's only been one time where I didn't get the tip. But then I got the tip like almost like 2 or 3 days before the deadline of it. But the person showed me in their app when they tipped me. And since I developed a relationship with them where I dropped them off, when I picked them back up, they showed me it was still there in their app, but I never got it. And then a month later, when they came back into Denver, when they put on their Uber app, it finally tipped me.
That's crazy.
I was glad. I see Brandon had to slip out, and I knew he would. I told him when I got him on, I said, you can stay as long as you want, but we would at least like you for the Spark portion, because he does, I think, more Spark than anybody up here. Probably is, even those of you doing Spark in the chat, I think he does as much as pretty much most people could. Even when it's been bad, he's that guy who sticks through it. And that's why I knew he'd be a good voice for this. I don't know. These were some, and I know we only got through like 2.5 stories, but those were brutal, man. Knowing that Walmart's doing it and seeing it in mainstream media, I guess that's a good thing. I guess that's a win. That's the win there, is that mainstream media is starting to go, wait a minute. And look, and everything
Steve,
you've said about
back the end of the show, you have to end on an upper type of story.
Well, I was also running out of time. I don't think we have an upper end.
I know. I'm just saying, you're going to have to bring that one back for the next show. Episode.
Yeah, maybe that's a good point, Tony. Maybe we need to have like you guys remember Anchorman? Remember when the squirrels going in the beginning? Like, we need one of those stories at the end of every night. Like, oh, look at the squirrel. Look at the squirrel water skiing.
We can try to find something funny to end the show with. I don't know. Something we find on Facebook.
By the way, guys, I thought I was being funny. If you want to know what I was trying to do in the beginning I'm going to nail it too. You guys are going to see it come out. But I'm trying to do a thing for Display Ride where it's kind of like, if you guys have seen the movie Tommy Boy, if you remember the scene where he's with David Spade, Chris Farley, and they're trying to pitch the one guy. It's like the first pitch, and he's doing the driving along, and he's like, ooh, and he's like, let's see what happens when you use the other guy's brake pads. And so that was what I was trying. I'm going for that. I told Kim tonight I'm testing it, but I'm gonna get it nailed.
I think you needed to have like you know how like Tommy Boy had like a model car. You should have gotten like a modeled car.
Well, that's why I said I'm gonna do it tomorrow in the car as a short, because then I can use the actual dash cams, my old one and my new one, or in the Display Ride.
Got it.
And I can kind of, because I don't know if it's cars. I think I need to use the
deer in your car.
No, you missed the whole point, man. But it's a really funny skit. If you guys haven't seen it, go look it up. I think all you have to do is put in just put in Tommy Boy in YouTube search and other guys' brake pads. If you put in Tommy Boy, other guys' brake pads, you'll find this clip. It's 2.5 minutes. It's hilarious. And if you haven't seen Tommy Boy, I don't know what's wrong with you.
I don't know. It's one of my favorite movies of all times.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Between that and my cousin, using that and my cousin Vinny, those are like my 2 favorite movies of all time.
See, now we're getting into some Tommy Boy stuff.
Yeah, there we go.
That's a funny one. Like, just everything Chris Farley. But I honestly think this might have been Chris Farley's best movie, by the way, guys.
I agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
Christopher, you never saw it? Okay, you have homework. Everybody who's never seen Tommy Boy, your homework is to go and watch it before next Thursday.
Before you go to bed tonight.
I know. It's a must-see.
It's an 80-minute comedy movie. You'll get through it in a breeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could
And I think it's free on all kinds of platforms. You can find it on all kinds of free platforms.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably on YouTube for free if you're watching it with commercials. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, go see Tommy Boy tonight if you haven't, because that is, you'll laugh from the first minute till the last minute. Yeah. I mean, without stop. You'll almost cry.
It's mandatory homework after Steve's Downer show.
Yeah. Note the sarcasm. I'm laying it on pretty thick.
What the heck?
It's on
another one.
Oh,
Mary hasn't seen it either.
It's on Paramount, Pluto, Prime. You got to pay for it in Prime, but it's free on Paramount and
Pluto's free, isn't it?
Yeah, Pluto's free.
Yeah,
I love Paramount. I have Paramount.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's funny because here's last quick fact about Tommy Boy. I gotta say this is that what's really funny is I really like Rob Lowe as an actor, always have, but he was going through a lot of crap when he made Tommy Boy, because I don't know if you guys remember, and compared to everything else going on in the world, it seems so little now. But he was like dating an 18 or a 17-year-old or something. It was messed up. Okay, I don't know if he knew her age or what, but it was like nobody would touch him for a while. And he had just come off all those movies with all like the, being with that group collective and all that stuff that he was doing all those movies with. And then he kind of went blank for a little while till this. And they brought him back as the bad guy. And I thought that was really classic. And then after that, he blew back up into like where I thought his career should have been. I don't know. But, again, it's...
Christopher was not really a fan of Chris. I wasn't a fan of Chris Farley either. And
you don't have to be to like
you
this.
don't have to be a fan to love this movie. To me, Chris Farley is very slapstick, and I'm not a very big slapstick funny person. But this movie is not that. It's
not as SNL.
No.
Personality.
I was just thinking of the kids yelling at him when he's in the boat.
It's kind of like his version of John Candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, everybody's dropping lines from the movie.
Yeah.
Did you eat paint chips as a kid?
Honestly, I think oh my god, my mind just went blank. Was like the star of the whole entire movie. Oh my god. My mind just went blank. I don't know.
Brian
my mind
Dennehy, David Spade.
David Spade. There we go. I couldn't think of David Spade but I feel like he was
that combination. Those two.
Yeah, was the star of the whole show.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's funny that somebody said John Candy, because I would also say it's kind of like Belushi and Aykroyd was in that film.
Yeah, he was.
He was the brake pad dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, if you haven't seen Tommy Boy, go hit yourself on the head with a mallet.
If you have seen it, see it again.
Hi, Zach. Wow. Is it really Zach?
He's got a wrench.
All right.
Yeah, it's Zach. Okay. What's up, Zach? Zach's been gone for a while, man. We're happy to see Zach around, though. I haven't seen him in a minute. So I think that's it for the night, you guys. We were going to go a little farther down this, and the DOJ, this was the Christopher Taylor, who's in the chat, emailed us a link. The FTC should investigate DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats. We'll get into this next week because this is ongoing and is actually tying in with the what is the Nevada case? The RICO case. So they're basically saying that no matter what you think, here's the gist of it. No matter what you think you're getting in refunds and stuff, it's not adding up. And even though DoorDash says, if we screw up, we give you the meal for free, and they do comp a lot of meals, they're saying they've now done the evidence, and that DoorDash and these other platforms are not only do they have bad customer service, they're not paying up when they screw up, even to the customers. So, yeah. You guys, with that, thank you for joining us. That's a wrap for the week. let's see. Next week we have a special guest. The week after we have Lou and Mary, Long Island Dash Experience. So we got a couple things coming up. And thank you for joining us on the live. Until next Thursday, be safe, earn smart, and Kim.
Kindness is always free.
Good night, you guys.
Drivers snapping at the tempo, playing perfect rhythm with the song on the radio.